Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start today's session. Okay, so today's topic is over some development model like Waterfall Model, Agile Model, and SDLC Model. Okay, so the models are very important before we starting over any project. Okay, so first model is like Agile model. So first I will share my screen and open some models. Okay, wait. Okay, so this image stand for the Agile model. Okay, wait, I will explain you that what is the Agile methodology and some notes about these topics. Okay, so Agile methodology is a iterative approach to software development and project management that helps firm deliver values to their customers faster and with fewer headends. Like instead of betting everyone on a big bang launch, an agile team delivers work in small, consumable increments. Okay, so agile is a very uh, a project by breaking it into a smaller pieces called sprints. Like each sprint focus on delivering a small part of the project that is fully functionality. Okay, like the example is instead of building an entire e-commerce website at once. Okay, we might first complete the login pages, the some dashboards, admin panels, okay, add to cart, etc. Then the project listing page and so on. Okay, so I will explain principles about the Agile model. Okay, like some key principles are their customer satisfaction, like deliver features quickly so customer can use them earlier. Okay, like release them to real life example. Okay, so some welcome changes. If the client was a featured update to or improved, we can handle it without disturbing the whole project. Okay, like working software always deliver something functionalities even if it's small, like continuous improvement. If varies every sprint, the team reviews that work will end what did it. Okay, so this is image stand for the agile model. Like sometimes the team doing front end, sometimes doing data schema, and sometimes doing testing, etc. Okay, so each sprint includes task like front-end development, build a form or a user interface like login pages, listing, And next is the database schema, like create tables for sorting user data, creating data, and updating. Okay, and backend development, develop an API or connect the front end to a database. Okay, like the next phases is the i- ensure the feature work without bugs. Okay, and next and final is deployment. Publish it on a test server for client review. Test server means a dev server, development environment. Okay, and next is the feedback loop. Like after deploying a sprint, gather user feedback and make improvements in the next sprint. Next sprint means over a next version. Okay, so when we use the agile model, then we use some tools like for like Jira or a Trello. Jira used for the planning and tracking task, creating some tickets for the development team. Okay, and some GitHub or GitLab for version control and collaboration. On GitHub or Git and GitLab or all team like front-end developer and back-end developers collaborate and work with together and pull and push their changes on GitLab and GitHub. The Agile model have some own roles like Scrum Master, okay, facilitates the process and ensure the team follows like Agile principle. Like some Agile roles is like product owner, represent the client and decided to priority of task. And like development team, like full stack developers who build the project. Okay. So the next is the sprint of a full stack development. Okay. So the sprint goal means creating a user login system. Okay. So we suppose we have a task for to creating a login user. Then we work first we work on front end task. Okay, so the front end team is work on the building the login form using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then the backend team is work then creating a login API using Java or Spring Boot. Then the next task is for the database. Design a table to store user credentials. Okay, so the next phase is the testing. Write test cases to ensure the login work correctly. Okay, and the next task is deployment. So host it on a test server, test means dev server for user feedback. Okay, and the next come is outcome. By the end of the sprint, the login feature functionality is function and ready for the client. Okay, so the most benefits for the agile model for full stack development, like a faster delivery. We don't wait for the entire project to finish. Feature are delivered quickly. Okay, and it's improve the flexibility of our project. Changing is requirements can be handled easily, and that's a high quality. Regular testing and feedback ensure a better final product. Okay, like Agile is like breaking a big problem into small, manageable pieces. Okay, like it's like a we have a big problem, then we breaking down into a similar some small and manageable pieces, and then solve it. Teams deliver value faster and adapt to changes easily. Okay, in full stack development, it ensure both of front end and back end are developed and integrated smoothly. Okay, on internet we have many Agile methodology. Like what is the Agile? The Agile methodology is a project management approach that involves breaking the project into a pieces and emphasize continuous collaboration and improvement. Teams follow a cycle of planning, executing, and evaluation. Okay. So, like the Agile methodology is like a breaking big problem into a small problems and manageable pieces. Okay. There is the some structure of the Agile model. Like there is the diagram of the Agile model. Okay. So there is the first we plan like first we documentation. Okay, first we create documentation about the project. Then we create the front end and create a schema for the designing. And here we developed or like backend develop. Here we create the backend. Here we create a front end, and here we connected it both to the database. Okay, and next phase is the testing, and the next is the deployment. And after that, deploying our project on test server, like dev server, then we receive some feedbacks from the user. Okay, then we the loop is running whenever the project is not completed. Okay, okay. So the next is the waterfall model. Okay. Okay, the waterfall approach systems analyze and design was to first establish a modern approach to build a system. This method was originally defined by Austin. Okay, so I will explain you in simple language like the waterfall model is a linear and sequential approach where each phase depends on the completion of the previous phase. It's like a waterfall flowing step by step. Okay, then first we get some requirements like first we create documentation. After the creating and making documentation, then we jump on the design phase. Okay, after the designing, we jump on the next phase, implementing. And after the implementation, we jump on the testing phase, like verification. But after coming on verification or testing stage, we cannot go on the previous step in the waterfall model. Okay, when we complete the testing, then we deploy the project. Okay, so like first we gathering the requirements. Okay, gather the document all project requirement up front. Okay, like example, like define all features of a website in a document. Okay, so there is the requirement. Okay, and next is the design. Create a system architecture for technical design, like design database schema and application user interface. Okay, in the design phases, we create some architecture and technical design like our database schema, our tables names, where you using foreign keys, etc. Okay, and working on our front end UI. Okay, the next is the implementation. Write the actual code. Okay, developers create front end and back end code connected to both to a single database or a multiple databases like MySQL, MongoDB, etc. Okay, so the next phase is the verification. Verification means testing. Okay, I think we have some other images. Mm, Okay, the waterfall model is a traditional model. This is not a modern approach. Okay. So in the implementation, write the actual code, developers create front end and back end code. Okay. The next stage is the testing, like verification. Deliver the software to the client, like hosting the website on the server. Okay. In the deployment, here we don't have the image for the deployment. Okay, I think. Okay. And the next step is the maintenance. Handle any update for the fix post launch, like resolving bugs and adding new features. Okay. So comparing waterfall with Agile waterfall methodology with the Agile methodology, like first is the some process flow. The waterfall methodology have some linear and sequential process flow. Okay, but the Agile model is iterative and cycling. Like Agile model is like a looping stage. Okay, and some changes in the waterfall methodology, some changes are difficult when a phase is completed. Okay, so and in the Agile methodology, changes are welcome even late in development. So compared to waterfall model, the flexibility of good for the Agile model. Okay, like entire project delivered at the end in the waterfall model. Okay, but in Agile model, features delivered in a small increment. Like, and in the waterfall model, limited to end of the project, like the feedback is the limited to the end of the project. The continuous feedback after every sprint in Agile model. We get the continuous feedback after every sprint. And in the waterfall model, team works in a soils for each phases. But in the Agile model, cross functionalities, team collaboration. Okay. Some there are some important differences between the Agile model and waterfall model. The client input is requirement throughout the product development. Okay, changes can be made at any stage, but in the waterfall model, changes cannot be made after the completion of a phase. Okay, so coordination among project team is required to ensure correctness. Okay, the coordination is not needed as the team starts the work after the finish of another team. Okay, the next is the it is really useful in a large and complex project, and it is mainly used for the small development. Okay, the testing part can be start before the development of entire product. Okay, in the waterfall model, testing can be only performed when the completed product is ready. And a small team is sufficient for the agile project model, but it requires a large team. Okay. The cost of development is less. In the agile model, the cost of development is less. Like it's consuming less time and less efforts. But the cost of the development is high, or it's take more time and more efforts. It complete the project is comparatively less time, and it take more time compared to Agile. The Agile method is known for its flexibility, and the waterfall method is a structured software development methodology, so it is quite rigid. After each sprint, like each cycle, test plan is discussed, but hardly any test plan is discussed during a cycle. Okay, so there the some key difference between the waterfall model and the agile model. Okay, So the next and the last model is the SDLC model, software development life cycle. Okay, so the next and last is the SDLC, like software development life cycle. Okay, so the here's so first phase is the requirement analysis. Okay, so and first we understand what the client and user needs. Okay, so in the requirement stage, first we understand the client and end user needs. Okay, like we documentation, create some documentation, etc. Okay, and some meetings, interview, survey, and documentation. In this phase, we do the developer or the team doing some activities like and the goal of the output of requirement, like a software requirement specification means SRS document. Okay, for example, for an e-commerce site, decide what features to include, such as user registration, payment, product catalog, add to cart, etc. Okay, like in the requirement gathering, understand what the client and what the user needs, like which pages user needs, which functionalities the client needs for the user, etc. Okay, and the activities for the team, like meetings, surveys, and documentation, the ideas for the project, and the next is the what the output of our project, like software requirement specification documentation create. Then for the example, create an e-commerce site, then decide what features to include, such as user registration, payment, and product catalog. Okay, and the next is the system design. Okay, like plan the structure of the first plan the structure of software, like what is the structure of our software, what is the database schema, what's decided the database structure, database tables. Okay, manage some database foreign keys, tables, implementation, etc. Like design database schema, application architecture, and user interface like UI. Okay, and merging them. Then high level and low level design documentation. Okay, like it define the database structure for sorting customer details and the layout for the product page. Mm, okay, like SDLC is a process followed for software building within a software organization. SDLC consists of a precise plan that describe how to deploy, how to maintain, replace, and enhance the specific software. The life cycle defines a method for improving the quality of software and all around development process. Okay. Requirement phase, first we planning. Okay, planning the critical steps. Planning is a steps is in everything, just in software development. In the same stage, requirement analysis is also performed by the developers for organization. This is attend for customer inputs and sales department like market survey. Okay, the information from is analysis from the building blocks of a basic project. The quality of the project is a result of planning. Thus, in this stage, with all the available information. Okay. Okay. Like the next step is defining, planning, and defining, then designing. Okay. In this stage, all the requirements for the target software are specified. These requirements get approval for customer, market analyst, and stakeholders. This is fulfilled by utilized SRS, like software requirement specification. This is a short of document that all these things that need to be defined and created during the entire project cycle. Okay, so the next is the system design, like design architecture. Okay, SRS is a reference for software design to come with the best architecture for the software. Enhance with the requirement defined in SRS, multiple design of the product architecture are present in the design documentation specification. In DDS is assigned by market analyst and stakeholders. After evaluating all the possible factors, that most practical and logical design is choose for the development. Okay, so the basic output of design structure is a high level to low level design document. Okay, the next step is a developing product. Okay, developing means or implementation or like or coding environment. Okay, write the some actual code for the software. Okay, like front end and backend development and database creation in this stage. Okay, like working with software modules. Developers create some APIs for user authentication, like and the UI for login pages, etc. At this stage, the fundamental development of the product starts. For this, developers use a specific programming codes as per the design in the DDS. Hence, it is important for the coders to follow the protocols set by association. Conventional programming tools like compiler, interpreter, debugger, etc. are also put into use at this stage. Some popular languages like Java are put into use as per the software regulation. Okay, so in this phase, start the coding. Okay, maintain the standard of coding. Make some structured code like scalable code, and use the version control like GitHub, GitLab, etc. And after the review over code, like test over code and improve. The SDLC model is very important for over when we creating some project. Okay. The next is the product testing and integration. Okay. So ensure the software work is accepted in in the testing phases. First, ensure the software work is accepted. Okay. Perform unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptation. And after the testing, the main goal of testing that is find the some bugs, resolve them, and make a bug-free product and validate software. Okay, prepare a validate software for the client. And like for the example, test whether users can log in, view product, and make products. Okay. After the development of the product, testing of the software is necessary to ensure its smooth execution. Although minimal testing is conducted at every stage of SDLC. Therefore, at this stage, all the are tracked, fixed, and retested. This ensures that the product confers the quality of requirements of SRS. Okay, so documentation, training, and support. Like it means software documentation is an essential part of the software development life cycle, SDLC. A well-written document acts as a tool and means to information repository necessary to know about software process, functions, and maintenance. Documentation also provides information about how to use the product, training in an attempt to improve the current or future employee performance by increasing an employee ability to work through learning, usually by changing his attitude and deploying his skills and understanding. Okay, so the next is the maintenance, deployment and maintenance of our product. So in the maintenance phase, first, but deployment and maintenance in the deployment phase, deliver the software to the client or release it on production. Okay. Configure the environment and deploy the software. The deployment phase's goal is the software is live for the end user or the client. Okay, like example, hosting the e-commerce application on AWS or Azure or Docker. Okay, and the maintenance means ensure the or software continues to function smoothly, like fix bugs, update features, and provide supports by the IT team. Okay, and updated and optimized software provided by the IT team to the client. Okay, like add a new feature for discount coupons or resolve security issue in our e-commerce site. Okay, so after detailed testing, the conclusive product is released in phase as per the organization strategy. Then it testing in a real individual environment. It is important to ensure its smooth performance. If it performs well, the organization send out the product as well whole. After retrieving beneficial feedback, the company release it as it is o- or with exactly improvements to make it further helpful for the customer. Okay. So the importance of the SDLC in the full stack development is like clear roadmap. For the clear roadmap, SDLC software development lifecycle provides a clear roadmap for full stack developers, okay? Ensuring both the front end and back end are developed in sync. Okay, so SDLC provides a clear roadmap for the full stack developers, like ensuring both the front end and back end deployed in sync. And the SDLC software development lifecycle model provide better collaboration. So team works on front end and back end, and database can align their tasks during the design and implementation phases. Okay, so teams working on front end, back end, and database can align their task during the database and implementation phases. The next importance is high quality output. Means like testing and requirement analysis phase ensure that the meet product meets user acceptation and their requirement is free for major bugs. Okay, so over SDLC, the main goal of the SDLC is create a high quality product that testing and requirements analysis phases ensure that the product meets user expectation and the requirement and is free from the bugs. Okay, in the SDLC model, the time and cost efficiency, the proper planning during the requirement and design phases helps avoid costly changes later in the project. Okay, so the SDLC software development life cycle model methodology is say over time. Okay, like proper planning during the requirement and design phases helps avoid costly changes later in the project. Okay, the next is the adaptability. Okay, software development life cycle ensures the software is maintainable, making it easier to update or add feature as requirements evolve. Okay, and reduced the risk. The SDLC with through analysis and testing. Potential risks are identified and minimized yearly. Okay, so today's session we learn about some project models like waterfall model. We knowing about the waterfall model, SDLC, and Agile methodology. So we work on the SDLC model, like software development life cycle. We used in our project the SDLC model. Okay, when we creating any project, then we use this step. So okay, in the previous classes we covered some topics like HTML, CSS, and today's we cover the some uh, development models. Then in the next session we covered some topics of Java, like core Java and advanced Java. Okay, like repository, Spring Boots, and some front-end technology about the and knowing about the some front-end like jQuery and the React. Okay, so Nihi and Vidhi. So today's session is end. So goodbye for today's. We meet in the next session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome.